365 Sports is brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/365 and get on your way to being your best self. What are some things you want to keep the same about yourself or your life in 2024? Were you already crushing it? Think opposite of New Year, New You. Around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we're already doing right. Maybe you finally organized one part of your space and you want to tackle another, or maybe you're taking your supplements every morning and now you want to actually eat breakfast too. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. BetterHelp.com is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit betterhelp.com/365 today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/365.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Caroline, you should tell them about the newest thing that Bloody Happy Hour is doing.
A Patreon.
It's a Patreon. What is that?
That means you're basically like a VIP member, and you get some perks. You maybe get like merch a little earlier. You get
Exclusive merch.
You could get first dibs on signing up for a live show. You get episodes with no commercials.
You get our video because our video is no longer available on YouTube. It is only on Patreon, and the most important to me is you get videos of our live shows, but also bonus episodes each month. But if you're on a Patreon, you're VIP, you're going to get more.
Because I always have a lot of details I want to go to. I can law-splain. I might read a book.
This is also going to be the exclusive place that Dirty Chat is going to go to. In order to hear the full content, it's going to be Patreon. Where do they go again?
Patreon.com/BloodyHappyHour.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
And this is Caroline.
And this is your Bloody Happy Hour true crime podcast.
It is that. Oh my gosh.
What is today?
Today's Tuesday.
And where did you go?
I went to Austin.
For what? Did you go to Kendra Scott or the Domain or 6th Street?
No, I didn't know.
No?
Mm-mm.
What for?
There was a murder trial. I basically went on the first vacation of the year. And it was fabulous.
Was it amazing?
It was
everything you thought.
Everything.
And you only went like a day and a half.
I went
still
for
great.
the day. I went for probably, besides the verdict day, I went the best day.
The best day.
Yes.
So tell them what trial, but then don't tell them too much because...
Caitlin Armstrong. She's the one in the cyclist, the murder of Mo Wilson. She's the one who's the suspect.
Yeah.
And it was happening in Austin because it all happened in Austin. So the trial was in Austin, and it was delayed a few times. And then they finally started a few weeks ago. They were airing live streaming opening statements, closing statements, and verdict. But they had some people who were live tweeting. So that's a way that I was able to keep up with it as it was going on. And then I got word that they might have closing statements on whatever day I went.
Monday went.
What is today?
Today's actually Thursday, so Wednesday the 15th you went.
Yes. And they were thinking that the defense would kind of be pretty quick. And they would have been very quick, except for they had this freaking 4-hour-long expert witness.
Oh.
And I don't know why they do that, because it's the jury. I was watching the jury, and they are nodding off, heads leaning over, falling asleep. Like, it's too much. It's like so scientific, and this people. It's like,
yeah.
I just don't understand why they have to do all that. Anyway, besides that, it was intense. It was this whole point where she got up and she went and was going to tell them if she was going to testify or not, where Caitlin did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the first movement she's made. And like the courtroom was like still and quiet and everybody was standing up, which is, well, I guess it was the jury was out of the room and she had walked up there with her attorneys and they were all discussing it. But it was according to the news outlets, they said this was like the highest point of the trial, or it was just like the most intense point of the trial up until, obviously.
And so you sat behind the victim's family.
So I get there and I'm like, I was really early because I barely slept. And I get there and one of the first people in the actual courtroom, and I don't know where to go. I'm like, okay, where's the best?
Was it full?
Not yesterday.
Okay.
The afternoon was a little bit, it was pretty full, but there was space. But I get there, I'm like, okay, I want to be able to see the jury. I want to be able to see her and the witness. So I go on, which would have been the victim side. And they have like this front area where it's for the family. And I was like, okay, well, that's where they'll sit. I just sat on the one behind it. Well, I did not know there was going to be like her aunts and uncles and a whole granola family there. And I'm sitting there and this lady comes and she's walking towards me and I was like, oh, I'll scoot over like towards the wall. And she was like, no, I sit there. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, I'm awkward as hell. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is the family. And I get up and I scoot back one row next to the guy who has been live tweeting News Nation guy, Alex.
Ooh.
And I don't even know if I spoke words, but I looked at him and I said something and he looked at me confused and I was like, hi. Like, I don't know what happened. I think I had a stroke. And then some other lady comes and sits and she tells me to put my phone up and I was like, who are you? I'm only putting my phone up if it's like the bailiff telling me. And so anyways, there was a whole thing. Then afterwards I go in the afternoon, I sit on the other side further to the back. And I had multiple people ask me, 3 different people on 3 different occasions just in that one day ask if I had been there before because I looked familiar. Then they asked if I was like a news person. They thought they had seen me on the news, and not like in a bad way, not like escaping. And then one lady asked me if I was a lawyer. I was like,
did you have them real close?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess
and your glasses, and you looked official.
I did. I looked weird. I did. So, and I could answer a couple. So whenever Caitlin went up there, talked to the judge and stuff, and everybody was like quiet and freaking out. The lady next to me, Camille. Oh, shout out to Camille, the realtor from Austin, if you're listening, because she said she was really into true crime, and she was. And I said, well, I do a true crime podcast, so you should go follow us. And she looked it up on Facebook and she followed us.
Yes.
Anyway, so I was kind of explaining to her what the process was. If what was happening, Caitlin would have to verbally say that she does or does not want to testify. And if she is not under the impression or like not being forced to or not to by her lawyers and blah, 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 blah. So then that's when she asked if I was a lawyer. And I was like, ma'am, no. Thanks, but no.
Nice. So you're going to cover the full episode
I'm
on
gonna
Thursdays?
Yes.
Okay. So we know the verdict now, though. Are you going to drop the bomb or are you going to wait till Thursday? They know it. It's all over the social media.
Okay. Well, she did get guilty, but you'll find out the sentencing on Thursday. You'll find out how long the sentencing is.
Oh, they already did that too?
That's what they're doing right now as we speak.
Okay. Alrighty. So I got some more news for you. And a little bit is I just saw that Carrie Rawson, BTK's daughter, has resigned from the BTK National Task Force effective like a couple hours ago. So remember remember we talked about a couple quickies ago is that there was these cold case murders in Oklahoma that they were trying to tie BTK to. Yeah. Right? And so they had this whole task force, which they had one back in the day. Is this the task force with the weird name, like the hot dog task force? Was that them?
I can't remember.
Or was that Ted Bundy?
No, I think you're onto something.
I feel like it was BTK and it was like hot dog.
I know. It sounds familiar.
Anyways, so they're currently investigating some of those cold cases, and this task force has like 30 people on it, and including Kansas. So Wichita, Kansas was where BTK was from. So their Department of Corrections and a bunch of retired law enforcement and retired investigators. Now the OSBI is...
OBSI? OSBI?
Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. So OSBI. And then Carrie Rawson was on it. So she has she resigned. People couldn't get along, and there's some drama with the task force, and the OS, and the Oklahoma State county, and the district attorney there now. Like there's a whole bunch of drama going on, and there was like 2 different press conferences, and one of them was task force guy, and then the DA got to come back and refute, and basically they're threatening each other to take They're trying to get the DA impeached. Can you impeach a DA?
This sounds like the stuff
impeachable crimes.
It sounds like the stuff that's happening up in New York with the Long Island serial killer. Yeah. It sounds like that kind of stuff.
And maybe they're unraveling some things. So there's that. She's no longer part of the task force, but she will still be a witness if needed, if they find something that's connecting him to some of these. So there we go, BTK. Next up, this is an old story that is back in the news because, so at the beginning of 2023, we talked about a Virginia teacher who was shot by her 6-year-old student. He brought his handgun, a 9mm to school, shot the teacher, got all the kids out, but put her hand up and he shot her, and it shot through her hand or whatever. Teacher didn't die. 6-year-old, right?
Yes.
And we talked about
if it was the parents and the locking up the gun and all that.
Yes, and when you have a gun and you have you take the responsibility for that gun. Well, they searched the house afterwards, and they found not only the gun wasn't in a safe spot, but they found narcotics, packaging, paraphernalia, 24.5 grams of marijuana, edibles, and a bunch of ammunition. The mother of the student is Deja Taylor. She's 26 years old. Now, so they, of course, brought charges against her because it was ultimately her fault. Her attorney asked for her to be sentenced to 3 years probation, home confinement, and counseling to deal with why she was making bad decisions, I guess. But she was actually sentenced to 21 months in jail for each of the charge. And I think there's a drug charge, there's a child neglect charge, and then the gun charge.
Interesting.
And they're to be served concurrently. So that's at the same time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Together. So she'll get at least 21 months. The mother, Deja Taylor, did say that she is really dealing with a lot of guilt from it. It's not anything she ever would have wanted to happen or meant to happen. She understands she was a dumbass.
And now a word from our sponsors. 365 Sports is brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/365 and get on your way to being your best self. What are some things you want to keep the same about yourself or your life in 2024? Were you already crushing it? Think opposite of New Year, New You. Around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we're already doing right. Maybe you finally organized one part of your space and you want to tackle another, or maybe you're taking your supplements every morning and now you want to actually eat breakfast too. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. BetterHelp.com is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit betterhelp.com/365 today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/365.
This episode is brought to you by Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+. Rated TV MALV. Viewer discretion advised. Maya Lopez has betrayed her mentor, the notorious Kingpin. Now on the run, she returns to her hometown to prepare for the biggest fight of her life. Don't miss Marvel Studios' hardest-hitting series yet. An epic 5-episode event. Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+.
But the teacher who had to endure 5 surgeries after this, regular intensive therapy to restore motion back in her hand, but is also dealing with a lot of deep psychological scars that, quote, plague her during most of the waking moments and invade her dreams. So she filed a $40 million lawsuit.
She went for it
against the school for negligence.
Get it.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're not going to go after the mama. What does she have?
Yeah.
And so what's the point of suing these people that really...
Yeah.
Do you ever get your money?
No.
You can't squeeze, what does it say?
I don't know.
Something from a turnip. You can't squeeze juice
the juice out of the pineapple tree.
But this is why. It's the school's fault because the assistant principal of the school was warned multiple times that day that the child was violent, behaving violently, threatening, and reportedly, allegedly had a gun. How do you...
I don't know.
Ignore that. Unless that was the least... I would like to know what type of school district. Like, is this a low SES? Does this school district have a ton of low socioeconomic school? So does this school have a lot of behaviors? And so maybe that threat wasn't at the top of his the list.
I would feel like a gun should be at the top. Is it that hard to get the student's bag and look at it? It takes 5 seconds to do that?
And I'm pretty and this is, where was this, Virginia? But I know, like in Texas now, most of our schools have, you walk in, there's clear backpack rules. All the games now, clear bag rules. You go to even like football, high school football games now, there's clear bag policies. And you're walking through metal detectors, like going through. So that could also be part of the lawsuit is the school district should have been more preventative, I guess. We should have had clear backpacks. We should have had metal detectors. We should have done all the things.
Well, good for that lady.
Yeah. So the school district tried to have it thrown out, and it was not thrown out. So she's going to be able to go all the way with this. She's not been able to work. I mean, and I guess when you have a lawsuit like this, like you really have to, if you're saying pain and suffering, like you really have to show that you're pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Or for the Maya trial, they're going to say, oh, well, she was at a, concert 2 weeks ago. She's not too sad. She's at a prom, you know, like they did Maya.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. I'm just going to pick on teachers today. This is a Friends with Benefits episode. or story?
What? Which? I'm gonna silent. What last week? What was that kid's name who we thought was autistic and they had to get rid of the other kids?
I don't remember, but you sent it to me.
Oh, okay. Because the one who beat the crap out of his teacher. Yeah, there's something going on with that one, but
I think it's so that was. Damn it, where was that?
Do that one and let me look.
Basically, the teacher saying she wants that teacher that was beat up was saying she wants maximum punishment.
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
Like she don't want them to go easy on him. So that's really what it was. There hasn't been any sentencing, but that teacher said that she forget the eligibility or forget the diagnosis, maximum punishment. If possible.
Okay, yeah.
She was saying the same thing. Like
so that
she
reminded me
been able
of
to
live
a normal life. She's been in pain. She's having some anxiety and
I saw that video.
Oh, that was bad.
Who are these teachers who walk up on it first and they just stand there and they're like, oh, I would like tackle the kid.
Yeah. I mean, restraining a kid is hard in school, but that's a reason to restrain. Imminent and serious harm to
I mean, he was just
others.
like punching at her, just like going at her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always say that I would love to just be the one to be like,
you would have not have.
I feel like I might have. I feel like I really would have wanted to.
Wanted to and doing is two different things.
It just depends on what takes
but
over.
With multiple teachers, like they could have grabbed one arm and another arm.
Then the multiple started coming out and they started pulling him off and then he starts kicking her and then it's like 10 teachers finally like are able to get him off and she's just like sprawled out.
Oh man. And the fact that video went viral, like she has a lot to be pissed at. Okay, so now this Connecticut teacher, her name is Allison Krennick. She's 42 years old, so she is my age. She has been charged with 2 counts of sexual assault, 3 counts of risk to injury to a child, and impairing the morals of a child. Which thing she did.
How old was...
The child was 11-year-old boy. So this 11-year-old boy vented to a family member that he was having a sexual relationship with his teacher. 11. What grade is 11?
Fifth grade.
That's
like that one kid, Mary Lou Letourneau. Is that her name?
Mary Kay Letourneau, yeah.
And they got married.
That's true.
But she was
40.
And he was
14, I think. 13 or 14 at the time.
Well, that's still.
So
I mean, that's just. I don't understand.
I don't understand either. So in July, during the summer months, July, August of 2022, is kind of when this relationship kind of sparked. So he told them that they had been communicating on iMessage and Snapchat, and that at least 14 times he snuck out of his house at night. The teacher would be crouching down by the bushes waiting on him. And then they would go back to her car where they would do the dirty.
What is happening?
There were hundreds of messages between the both of them.
Like, I don't understand.
Mm-mm. I don't. 5th grader. I can't. There were hundreds of messages between the both of them, and she was very inappropriate in the messages. She was obviously the aggressor in it, but she had also sent him a picture of a bracelet, which they ended up finding, and it's one of those. Remember, it was a plastic, I guess, bracelet.
I can't get over my face. I have my look of disgust on my face right now.
Those plastic bracelets that you wear that would say like "Live Strong" or what would Jesus
those little rubber
do?
band,
rubber band,
and they like stack them on there, and all the boys wear them.
Well, she gave him one that had BFFLWB.
The bitch is trying to get caught. Like, what is she doing?
Best friends for life with benefits.
This is weird. Did she make it?
You wouldn't give that to another, somebody your age, let
What
alone.
kind of mental illness does this bitch have? I'm pissed.
No, we don't want her to have shit because she needs maximum time.
Well, she obviously has a mental illness if she is doing this weird stuff. Does she even have, I mean, I guess she's not married and doesn't have kids or anything because.
Pervertism isn't a mental illness. Like, if that's the case, every damn pedophile would not be in jail. They'd be in an institution because they'd have an excuse to get out of it. I'm sure there's something wrong with them, but there's no diagnosis, I guess, besides pedophilia.
Yeah.
Pervert. So they arrested her finally, just Tuesday the 14th. So this had been going on for a while, and it was investigated. And to explain the text messages, she was like, I'm just a very nice person. Sometimes my nice messages can get miscommunicated. I can see how y'all can see this as sexual, but it's really not sexual. I was offering support because he was dealing with some family issues. Turned it back on the family.
Oh, so she's a psychopath and she's manipulative and she's.
Oh, and they know how to find their victims. So they do target the ones who, are dealing with family issues and stress, and they want an adult to trust because they're pissed at the adults in their life. So she had to turn herself in Tuesday the 14th to the police, and she's now in jail on a $500,000 bond. So they're taking it serious, at least there. Bitch ain't gonna get out. She's a teacher. $500,000 bond. But an 11-year-old's. I mean, I'm not excusing it, but I understand more high school.
I agree.
Yes, when I
agree.
Especially these coaches that graduate and they're just fresh out of college.
Yes. I remember when I subbed and I was like, I felt like I was just still young. I was 35 probably. Well, how old was I?
No, that bitch, you were too old to
I know,
feel like
but
they were young.
I think that was when I was subbing, when I was when I did stuff in West. I don't know, but I was no. It was before I even did Camp Gladiator. It was before.
Yes.
So I was young. I was early 20s, and I was like, oh my gosh, do I really need to go and be a substitute teacher? I feel like I just got out of high school,
Yeah,
and but I get
So there's that. Here's another one.
Is this the episode of all the people doing things to their teachers? Because did you see the other one that was in trial the other day? That kid, just yesterday, I think.
No.
Who got mad at his Spanish teacher for giving him a bad grade?
And did what?
And he and another guy, he Snapchatted a picture of him holding the bleach bottle and said
I did
something.
See a bleach bottle.
And then he Snapchatted a picture of him holding a shovel and it's it's about to go down. And they went and beat the crap out of the teacher and killed her.
What?
Yeah. Because she got a bad grade on a Spanish test. Isn't that crucial?
That's ridiculous. Where did that happen?
I don't know. It just popped up on Court TV yesterday.
I saw something with the bleach bottle.
Yeah, because, I posted something, but I don't.
Clorox.
Yeah.
So what'd they do with the bleach?
I guess they were, I don't even know the story.
Okay. We're going to bring it. We're going to bring it to the next episode then.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is California, and it's about the Piper family.
Okay.
So January 11th, 2020, Lindsay Piper reported her stepson, Roman Lopez, 11 years old, missing from their home. She had lived in this home with Roman's dad and 7 other children, age ranges 1 through 17. So it's 8 kids in the house, including Roman, who's 11 years old, the dad, and then who is Jordan Piper, and then the stepmom. Okay? So investigators come and they search the home, but Roman wasn't found. But they also searched everywhere else, and they just had reason to believe that something had to happen in the home. So they went back and searched the home for a second time, and after a more extensive search, they found the remains of 11-year-old Roman Lopez in a storage bin in the basement of the home. The autopsy showed no trauma. So, like, there was no, like, he was all together. There was no bruising. There was no blood. There was no anything. But he was severely malnourished and dehydrated. And he weighed 42 pounds.
Oh, gosh.
As an 11-year-old boy. And his last checkup at the doctor when he was 9, he was 61 pounds. So that's still, I think, small. But then losing that much weight as you get older and grow, that's not normal. And he also hadn't been to the doctor in 2 years, which is a red flag. So he reportedly suffered physical abuse for years. He had been restrained in his bed with zip ties, tied to his bed at night to the bedpost with zip ties. Zip ties are very popular.
Clearly,
restraints.
as are ropes, which is what those Utah bloggers did or whatever.
Yeah.
And those kids were malnourished and there was ropes and stuff. Yeah.
These people are probably watching their
They're
blogs.
Are they from Utah?
They are from Connecticut? No, California. California.
Ain't much better there.
So, there was a bunch of CPS cases out, but the family had moved so much in California that the cases were never, like, couldn't be followed up on. So there would be a CPS case.
It's like they go for the families who they don't get the ones that are the bad ones, but they get the ones who are completely innocent. And yeah.
But they would have an open CPS case, and so a CPS caseworker shows up, has the initial visit, and then by the time they show back up, they're gone. Like, their house, everything is gone. They, like, get up, pack up in the middle of the night, and they move
10
somewhere
of them?
else. All, yes,
8
10
kids.
of them.
Was it 7 or 8 kids?
8 kids and 2 parents. Yep. So they said that they moved around in California so much that it was just hard to
Where the
track
hell are they
down
going? Different
the abuse.
apartments or something?
This was the house.
Wow.
So both parents were charged with child abuse, torture, poisoning, and second-degree murder. So I guess the autopsy revealed other things. Lindsay had already been sentenced to 15 years to life, so the stepmom, for second-degree murder. Jordan...
Oh, they had separate trials or whatever?
So Jordan, which was the dad, was sentenced 15 years, was currently in jail, or is currently in jail right now for sex exploitation of another child. So all those kids in the house, Roman wasn't the only one that was abused. So sexually exploiting another child. And he was in jail for that. And so now he's about to be sentenced for the second-degree murder of Roman Lopez.
I know you said this in the beginning. Were the kids all theirs, or you said that one of was a step parent?
I didn't clarify. So I know the mama was the stepmom of Roman.
Oh, but we don't know.
But I don't know, because it's all the kids. I don't know if it was combined kids.
Right.
Which I would assume.
Yeah. And why was it just him? I mean,
he was the one that's dead.
Right.
But there's the
others
counts.
Had some.
So there's other counts of, like, poisoning and abuse and
what kind of drugs
torture.
were these people on? Because were they on drugs?
Of what?
Like drugs and stuff?
They didn't say anything about drugs. They were just assholes.
Yeah, because then they're like, I guess he died, and then they're like, well, I guess we need to do something.
Put
with
him in
his
storage
body.
bin.
Let me
They were just
get
gonna move.
hit of my meth and put him in the good year container, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let me take the Christmas lights out and put the kid in. What?
Horrible. And then just the last little one is it's the 1-year anniversary of the Idaho 4.
Oh, I know.
And I can't believe that was 1 year ago.
I know. It's November 13th. I don't know why. I don't ever remember dates. I have the most random memory of things, but I knew. I've always remembered it, and it's just so. It just makes you want to give them justice so much more.
Yeah.
Because it's like it kind of refreshes it, which is good. I think. I mean, it just.
And at least now, so the good part is there's so many cases like this that they don't even have a suspect. It's cold. It's gone cold, and it's been 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and longer. So at least they have somebody. They can put a face to the murder. They're getting some answers. We were supposed to have a trial October 2nd, but he waived his right to speedy trial, so it's postponed. But I still feel like there's a little bit of peace, maybe more peace than like our WTF month, where all those parents have no answers.
Yeah.
You know, still they don't even got a picture to the person who murdered their kids. There was a lot of vigils, there were a lot of memorials done this week just to kind of honor them. And I was just shocked to know. I know we've been obsessed with it for forever, but it just did not feel like a year.
It did for me because I have been wanting the damn trial to start. Yeah. But yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, I remember when it happened and it was just like so. I mean, it went everywhere, worldwide.
Yeah. Took over. And so there's some statements out there from the parents and everything. But guess also on the 13th, Trent's team released next year's schedule. Guess who they're playing?
Utah. Oh, Idaho.
Idaho, University of Idaho. In Moscow. The one that's in Moscow. Because I was like,
Moscow. You're not going to Russia.
There's a W at the end.
I know. It's the whole thing. It's Moscow.
My friend from, or one of the teachers from
the Vandals?
Idaho
They
said
called the Vandals?
Moscow. Huh?
Well, you need to correct her.
Well, she's from there.
Well, she's stupid.
I thought she was correcting me.
Nope. She forgot.
Maybe.
Watch me be getting it backwards.
Probably.
But I remembered it was Moscow because Moscow was what you think because of Russia, right? Don't get me lying. But oh my gosh, are you going? I'm going. I'm gonna go. Are you gonna go?
It's here. Oh hell! I got all excited because at first I saw it and it did not register. It did not register.
Because what are they? University of Idaho? I mean, I know what it looks like, but
they're yellow and black.
Yeah.
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 So I was like, oh, we're trying to figure out like what away games we're going to go to. We'll go to Utah this year. And I was like, oh, Idaho. And I was like, oh, Idaho, where's this college? And it said Moscow. Go. And I was like, what?
One thing I was going to say about Kohberger and the DNA, because, you know, they're trying to claim that it's touch DNA that was, or transfer DNA. So they're like, okay, on the knife sheath that was left there at the scene, right? And that's how they got to it being Kohberger, right?
Yeah.
But now that, you know, the defense is like, well, DNA this, IgG this, all this technical stuff. But they're basically saying that could have been somebody else's knife sheath that he touched days ago, months ago, and it just had his print on it.
You know what I would say? I was at a garage sale and I did pick up this knife sheath and look at it, but I didn't have any use for it, so I put it back down.
Yeah.
How can they?
Okay, so
that's what I think of every time somebody says touch DNA.
So this came up yesterday when I was at the trial because they were trying to say, and I could talk about this in the episode or now. Well, they were trying to say that. So I'll just wait until I'll tell you about it tomorrow. I'll tell you about it on Thursday. I can't remember. Yeah.
Okay.
It's because it's good. It's good.
Okay. All right, y'all. There's your quickie for the week. All new and a couple of. We took it back to some old stories. So we will see y'all Thursday for a full episode, and we're going to Austin, Texas. You're going to Texas for once.
We're going to Texas.
Excited.
I'll try not to be so scattered, but because I have it all in my brain.
Oh, that's hard.
Never
that's
good.
Dangerous. All right, y'all. Don't forget to stay away. Wait,
what? Where are you going?
I'll see y'all in a little bit. Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
And don't be a pedophile teacher, you weirdos. Jesus.
I'm Blair. And I'm Brittany. And we're the host of By the Cover Podcast. We cover everything from mysteries, thrillers, romance, chick lit, and even some smut.
Don't forget the smut.
Yeah.
We're so excited to get this thing going and share this with you guys. We've been talking about this for months, and it's finally happening.
Yes.
Special shout out to Rogue Media for helping us with this.
For sure. For sure. You can find us on Instagram at @bythecover_podcast.
You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok, so don't forget to give us a follow on those two also.
We are so excited to dive into some of our favorite books and share those with you.
We can't wait. Hope you love it.
Hi, and welcome to Bustles and Bangers with your hostess, Rachel and Christopher.
I love it when you say my name.
And you didn't say hi.
I didn't. You just kept going. I'm going to introduce the book. I'm not reading it.
It's
because I don't like reading.
girls like cowboy butts, and those jeans don't hide anything. Find us on Instagram at Bustles and Bangers or on RogueMediaNetwork.com.
This has been a Rogue Media Network